practical. Get this spirituality and the ability to fit it into your life. Because if you can't, you'll start feeling like a nut job and an outsider. And you do a great job of bringing people comfort, information that they can go, okay, I'm not being told and it's I have to. It's okay, that's information and you're sharing it and I choose to. When they can get that empowerment of self-realization to realize they're not made to do anything, but allowed to do everything, then it becomes a little bit more accepting to go, okay. Because like I do for myself, growing.
But you just said it though. When you turn around and you say, okay, you're letting a lot in to yourself. I mean, you're opening a portal. You really are. And it's like all of a sudden, I mean, I've done it a few times, lucky enough to do it, because I mean, I have to practice it more or something, because I mean, it doesn't, it's like something you fall over, it's an accident.
Like, seemingly, yes, sir.
Why did I do this? It's like one of those things. But I mean, it's like you really feel, there's a few seconds that you're like in and out of yourself at the same time.
And see that old way of thinking with the new realization of potential to go, okay, I've lived most of my life feeling this way. Now, potentially there could be something else in a different way. Right. That's what more people are opening up to. They're being shut down in the physical and opening up to the metaphysical. And when they can realize, oh, it's not the airy-fairy stuff. It's, practicality of spirituality. Okay, so what else do you have to say, Bob? Because, they're not going to listen unless you speak to their soul, not just their mind, but their soul.
I just because this Skype net is so messed up, I want to play that one more time. I really, really do. I mean,
yes,
if they can get it the first time, they'll get it the second time. Let me say it. Only because if everyone that listens to this video listens to your pre-show, and at what I wrote for that thing, but forget about me writing it. I mean, it's just what's in it. And that if they follow anything that I put in there, and okay, I get an AI guy in it to come in and do the thing, and then I could read it myself if I wanted to. But on the other hand, that like you're looking at 5 screens and you're going to, yeah, you're really going to sit there and read. But, I'm serious. I mean, the writing part of it and the producing part of it and the music and everything else, and that's like it's another planet. But
can we begin to co-create? Yes, exactly. With that very thing, you're not out of control. You're in control. You allow it to happen, not try to make it happen.
All right, hang on a second.
Let's beautifully shared.
It's one more time. Let's hope it works one more time.
Isn't that funny? But we create our reality within those moments of quiet as we perceive it, allowing us to recalibrate, to refine our awareness as a spiritual being, because it's all spiritual. It's all one. It's what level do you want to take it to? And can you incorporate that you are everything and everything is you?
You think?
Yeah, well, not everyone can handle that. That's too much of an ego. It's like, really? What if it's just an awareness? That's it. Just an awareness. Not better or worse, but different.
You know what? I tell you something. I went all over the place then looking for music. I mean, they could tell you here. I'm serious. About 40 minutes to find something that went with those words.
Beautifully done.
Now, everybody listen to this and follow it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to A View of Humanity with your host, psychic medium Jamie Clark, and broadcaster Bob Charles here on Pyramid One World Radio Network. Now is the time to start calling into the show with questions. Dial 609-6630153. The question is, how do you live your life with your spiritual gifts? Living with spiritual gifts involves embracing and nurturing these abilities to enhance personal growth and contribute positively to the world. Here are some ways to integrate spiritual gifts into daily life. Self-awareness and acceptance. Recognize and accept. Acknowledge your spiritual gifts and understand their nature. Acceptance is the first step towards integrating them into your life. Self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your experiences and feelings to better understand how your gifts manifest. Continual learning and practice. Study and research. Learn more about your specific gifts through books, courses, and workshops. Knowledge enhances your ability to use your gifts effectively. Practice regularly. Like any skill, spiritual gifts improve with practice. Incorporate daily or weekly routines to hone your abilities. Mindfulness and meditation. Meditate. Regular meditation helps you connect with your inner self and spiritual realm, providing clarity and strengthening your gifts. Mindfulness practices. Stay present and aware in your daily activities. This helps in recognizing moments when your spiritual gifts come into play. Healthy lifestyle. Physical health. Maintain a healthy diet, exercise regularly, and get adequate rest. A healthy body supports a clear mind and strong spirit. Mental and emotional well-being. Engage in activities that promote mental and emotional health, such as journaling, therapy, or hobbies you enjoy. Community and connection. Join a group. Connect with like-minded individuals or groups who share similar gifts. This provides support, learning opportunities, and a sense of belonging. Share and teach. Use your gifts to help others. Whether through volunteering, mentoring, or simply offering support, sharing your gifts can be fulfilling. Balance and boundaries. Set boundaries. Protect your energy by setting clear boundaries. This helps prevent burnout and ensures you can use your gifts sustainably. Balance. Find a balance between using your gifts and other aspects of your life. Integration should enhance, not overwhelm, your life. Intuition and trust. Trust your intuition. Your intuition is a guiding force in using your spiritual gifts. Trust it to lead you in the right direction. Be open. Remain open to new experiences and insights. Spiritual gifts can evolve, and staying open allows you to grow with them. Gratitude and humility. Be grateful. Regularly express gratitude for your gifts. This fosters a positive mindset and strengthens your connection to the spiritual realm. Stay humble. Recognize that your gifts are a part of a larger purpose. Humility keeps you grounded and focused on the positive impact you can make. By incorporating these practices, you can live a balanced, fulfilling life while making the most of your spiritual gifts.
You know, Bob, and I think that brings us to a very interesting point is it's not easy to be spiritual when you come from a beautiful religious background, whatever it might be. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But I share the fact that I have a lot of people that come to me going, Jamie, I've never, ever been to somebody who does what you do in my church. Don't look too kindly on it. And my first response is, well, first off, congratulations for having the guts to sit here. Second, let's just get a basic meaning of mediumship. To me, a basic meaning is to consciously connect with a being, a spirit, an entity outside of the physical body. And they'd be like, yeah, like, okay, so with that very definition, if you talk to God, Jesus, the angels, you're doing mediumship. And I'm willing to bet with that particular style, you were hoping and praying for life-changing miracles and instant communication. Because it's not always easy. I look back on, I am very thankful to be who I am and to grow up in a family that all used their abilities. My mom was an amazing psychic medium, so was allowed to flourish, to build upon those. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have that. They'll tend to feel alone, and I'm in my own because my family's into the religion, which is great. It's whatever works for you. But when they can feel alone like that, I don't know what I'm supposed to accept. Who am I supposed to be? I'm like, just be you. Question everything, but be open. And the universe will speak to us and through us. And the ability to communicate, self-realization. Not that we're better or worse, but maybe just accepting ourselves for who we are as that eternal soul print of consciousness. And when people can give themselves permission to do the best they can with where they're at, what they're aware of, and keep going, then it becomes a little bit more effective to incorporate this spiritual stuff into our lives because not everyone is able to at the moment. But as they grow up and they realize, one, where they come from, okay, great, and that kind of possibly shaped who they are and where they're at the moment, but that they can grow from there. That's not the only end result. There is no end result except what you perceive there to be. And when people can accept themselves and find that, okay, this psychic stuff isn't so negative or challenging, I'm like, man, just be open, just be practical. And when they can work with those abilities, those gut feelings, that they start to reflect back on their life to go, oh, well, I've had something similar to that. I felt like someone was going to connect and I wanted to connect, and all of a sudden they called me. I'm like, isn't that psychic? Isn't that saying it before it happened? Right, you were just reading the energy. You may not have understood it, but you experienced it. That's when it gets real. We won't always understand it, but we'll experience it. The kind of reality as we perceive it.
You know, it's easy for you though to go up to someone and say, "Listen, you know, I can read your energy." You know, I swear to you, I know everybody that's listening to this right now, and I did put a lot of links on Facebook, so people can listen on their cell phones and everything else.
Excellent.
And I know a few places that are listening, but I had said to this one person, I said, you know what? I said, I'm not a psychic or anything else. I said, forget about it. Maybe I'm just a radio guy with half a brain that works in the other side that follows the other one. But, you know, I said, your energy, I said, is unbelievable. So she turns around, she said, nah, I got up this morning, I feel like hell and everything else. I said, no. I said, I'm reading you the other way around. I said, I like, you want to jump, you want to do things, you want to go somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, I do. I said, see? I said, what you're doing is you're letting the one side of your thoughts dominate the side that wants out. You know,
and so what do? You fight yourself. Yes.
Do you know that when that was realized, by the end of that day, she was the perkiest thing in that place.
You didn't make her. You just gave her information.
No.
She chose to. Freaking A. That's beautiful.
Right. That's what she felt. She thought she felt was what was dominating, or sort of her feelings and the way she thought she should. You know, her brain says, "Well, you feel like that, then you should be like this." You know, so.
Funny but true. Most people are like that. Yeah.
And on the other side, that it was like when she forgot about that part, and did what I said and just forget about that part. It was like, ooh, how you doing? Blah blah blah, and all this
Look
stuff.
at the empowerment of self-realization. You didn't make her. You just shared a different perspective to go, oh, I haven't seen things like that before. Okay, maybe there's something to that different spiritual way. And you're like, yeah, whatever you'd like to see.
Yeah, but we all have this inside.
Yes. It is us. We are it.
Well, it's maybe it's what we're taught, maybe it's the way we're brought up, maybe it's the way we live, maybe it's the people we mingle with or something that keep it how would you say it, recessed
and constant.
Right. And then when you stop that, when you take the fences away and let the animal out, ooh, look out, baby.
But do we see it's a natural state of beingness? It doesn't have to be you control everything, just be everything. When you stop trying to limit it and fight it, you become it.
Look at what's going on around the world right now. I'm quite sure you get a lot more intuitive feelings than I do. But I look at this all the time and I say to myself, I wish maybe for a day I was in a position where people listen to me. In every single one of those countries, like they're in NATO right now, and NATO wants to take Biden and throw him in the woods somewhere, but and not only that, he probably wouldn't. Yeah. But the thing is, the people at those places, every single one of those countries, and that are supposed to be working together, send that to having lunch. I mean, come on, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? If you want to get together and you want to do something, do it, for crying out loud. Don't stand there and talk about it. I never saw so many people. I was watching, what was it, Newsmax, and I was watching something else here on the computers, and of course, early in the morning. But I was watching this stuff, yeah, and I'm watching this stuff, and I'm saying to myself, you know, seriously, these people they're stuck in a vein of life. They're stuck.
Perpetuated pattern. Yes.
Yeah, they're just stuck. All they have to do is step. It's like Trump did it in Korea. He stepped from South Carolina, South Korea to North Korea over that line to go and meet the leader of North Korea.
Did you have enough guts to
See?
create and cross that line? Yes.
But he wanted to go over that line. It was in him to say, I want to do this. And it's in every single one of us that we have the same line. We have to go over that line to get where we want. I mean, I'm serious. If maybe it's when you get older, we're like, I mean, you're not really old, but I mean,
60 next year, man. I'm like, yes, and just a number.
Yeah, but I get to 73, so hey. I was, I was just on with a friend of mine. They said, what about the rest of your relatives? I said, I don't have any.
Yeah.
So,
You're like
I'm
me.
serious.
They've all graduated.
Yeah, when they call me an alien, I must be. But
Breeties to everyone else. Very relative. Yes.
But the other way around that, these people that I meet, and some of them are just like, well, we have here where I am here in this community, and that where our house is in the community. There's a clubhouse, and people go there and they play bingo and all kinds of things. In fact, I wanted to take, and I'm still gonna try to do it. Take this show to a show night, and actually, literally, I mean, we've got this like huge TV in like the main hall, and tables and the whole 9 yards. I like to bring it on and take the computer, put you on the big screen with the camera going out to the audience.
Look at you already have the end result. You're just sharing it. Yes.
Exactly. So that the place that's there, people can ask you a question right there on it. I mean, I also have a radio mic, so I can walk around the room, say here, I mean, I have that stuff. I was a musician for 39 years. For crying out, you know what I got here? I mean, I'm serious. If you saw what's behind me,
I bet.
There was like, I mean, we're talking like it's like a Marshall, only bigger. I'm serious. My guitars are over here too. So I mean, I'm ready, and the keyboard's over there.
Look at all the tools that you have around you. What are you going to choose to connect with, and what would you like to play? Because it will play not only in your own awareness, but in the souls of others.
And I still have a song that I wrote the words to the song, and nothing has come through yet. I have like every single song that I wrote for any of the bands and that I had. When I wrote the songs, the music part of it, it was the words that spurned the music. It's just like what I do here. Like you heard that song.
So what continues to happen? It is the words that's exactly. Isn't that psychic? Aren't you now saying that before it happens? Isn't that?
Yeah, you look at the words and then you hear the song. My drummer in my last band, Turning Point, I used to go to his book. He used to use or write poems and prose and all that kind of stuff. And he had like 3,000 of these things. And I would go to the book and I would page by page. And the pages that I heard something, that was we'd get copies of the words and everything else. I tell him to fix it up so it sounded like a song instead of what he wrote. And he'd do that. And then it was unbelievable. Like the one song, Light Another Candle, that I sent you. That's one of the songs beautiful. That we did. That was a sound check. That's how I got the recording. I got the guys that was on the board.
Beautiful.
So, and I mean, you take a song like that was as important as it was about somebody that was in the family, that somebody had lost their life in Vietnam. So, Light Another Candle, for the person that had passed away. It was someone in the military. And when I wrote it, I said, no, this music has to be way different than anything that's out there. It's got like way different. So when we did that, it was, everybody was like, that's not bad. And then when we did it in the studio, it was like, okay, and then when we did it live, it was like, whoa, You know, I mean, then you're like kicking out. I mean, when I sang that song, and I was like the beginning of it, it's just me that's speaking. I'm at the very edge of the stage,
But you
looking
had enough guts to do that.
50 or 60,000 eyes and teeth, like, looking at you. You know, and it's like you wouldn't believe how small you feel when you're in that position.
I bet.
But you see, this is what I tell people all the time why I always tell them to get your videos, because they all think they feel small and you make them feel big.
Because they are the oneness of everything. Yes.
Exactly. They're not small. They're toying with themselves.
But look at how the average person sees themselves. Okay, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to change it? Change you and you will change everything.
Right. Right. They're not people understand that they are servants to the world. We all are. I mean, that's what we do. But
At this moment.
We are not servants to any one person but ourselves. That's where I am when I say that. People go, huh? I say I am. They go, no, we are. You know.
But your ability to do the best you can with how you perceive it.
Exactly.
That's when they're like, okay, that's a different way of saying it, but okay, I see it differently. Now I can place a different value point on it. Because when we get the same approach, it doesn't always change things. We're like, oh, it just keeps happening. It's like, really? Sometimes if you change it, they'll make that change. And the good thing is you're just being you. You're genuine. You're sharing it. You're not telling them. You're sharing it with them. That's when they're not made to. They're allowed to. And people need to know it's the empowerment, not manipulation.
By the way, if anybody out there wants to text me, I mean, if your brains are stuck on it, and the only thing you could do, I mean, you got a neck ache from looking down.
Right, whatever's going on.
I'm serious. I mean, you can text me right now during this show at 863-222-4199. If you got a question, you put it in there. Say, Bob, I think you're nuts, but that's okay. I may be. But 863-222-4199. Let's see how crazy I really am.
But see, look at that. You're opening up yourself for conversation, for communication. Not This is the only way. It's like, hey, this is my way. And you know what? If I can share it, maybe it might get you to see something differently. Not better or worse, but differently. And the good thing is you have enough strength and self-awareness to go, this is just my experience. That's all I can talk about. Right. That's the point. People don't want to be made to. They want to be shared to and allowed to. That's when it's like, okay, I get it.
And that is so cool. And then when somebody turns around and they go, really? I'm sure you talk to somebody and they'll tell you they're a mini, how would you say it? A capsule of their life in maybe 45 seconds or less.
And that's what most people come from. Right, yeah, a little segment.
They got it. The faster, the better. And I usually turn around to people and I says, "So, what's next?" Then that's when they call me. That's when they call me nuts. Because I said, no. I said, where you say you are is not where you are right now. And that's why I bring in the now. Because if you're in the now, you're not in the then, and you're not in the later. You're in the now.
Will be it. I am.
Right.
Yes.
Bingo. Exactly. So as long as they remember that, and I always tell people, look, I said, I'm not telling you to do anything stupid or anything else, jump off a bridge or any of those dumb things. I'm asking you to remember one thing. You are you. I am means you love you.
And not narcissism, self-realization. Yes.
That's right. And you are your own best friend. I said, you could have 1 billion people to talk to you and say, but I don't have any baby friends. Yes, you do. You are your best friend. If you lend yourself to other people, that's how you get friends, because those people will then lend themselves to you.
Well, see, and it's not always easy, because most of us will live for others rather than with others. We live for ourselves and with others. That's when it becomes more empowering.
That's what people. Yeah, but this what I think that screws things up a little bit more, because I'd rather people live with everyone else and be a group. I mean, let's face it, this whole world, the whole planet. I mean, so here, I'll give you one that was definitely called crazy. This whole world, since we are all humans on this planet, we are all in one way or another, be it chemical, scientific, um, humanity wise, we're all related. Every single one of us. Now, I said to them, I said, if you had a bicycle and ran over a dog's tail, what would the dog do? And they said,
Yo,
would yipe, 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 one of those kind of things. I said, okay. Right now, I said, if you're talking about somebody in another country, in another place, in another city, whatever, you're running over their tail. That's why they are the way they are, because you are talking about them and not with them, or you're not talking to them and saying, hey, listen, maybe. You're not lending an opinion to that person to tell that person, this is my opinion, what's yours? I said, if you do that, I said, then you could take two opinions together and make a law out of it. Bingo. This is the way it is. This is the way we want to live. It's like California. Everybody's moving out. Why? Because some nut is running it. Why don't somebody walk up to the guy and say, hey, listen, man, I'm really, I'm tired of stepping in stuff in San Francisco. It's like, or they're spending more money than they got. They don't have any money.
what if potentially, just potentially, the contributing factor is those people's actions that they're like, I got to get out of here? What if potentially there's a dynamic, a circumstance, an experience that is coming up for the entire state of California and beyond that, again, I don't know nothing for nobody, but I will share with you, there will more than likely be two different earthquakes that shift the tectonic plates of California, and it's going to slide right in.
You forget, though, half that plate that you're talking about it runs right down the middle of California.
Do we find balance or not? Exactly.
So what I'm thinking is new beach property.
Funny but true. Phoenix will be that beachfront property. Like, oh crap, that stuff's real. Like,
I'm serious.
yes, exactly.
I mean, that's the way it looks. But I mean, the big one didn't come yet. But according to everything from the Astro people that I'm talking to, that I talk to all the time, and that they say, oh, maybe it's coming.
I would have to agree with them.
But it's the same thing, though. I mean, you're closer to it than I am. But Yellowstone is like 2 seconds from blowing its top too.
Yep.
I mean,
it's a buildup of energy vibrations, but if it's going to release itself.
We're talking. They're already smelling sulfur. Smelling.
I didn't realize. Okay.
That's like, it's like right before an eruption, and that you smell that.
Okay.
So, and it's the biggest caldera on the whole planet. So, I mean, if that goes, poof.
A lot is
but it's not just the United States. It would be like Canada and probably half of Asia and the other side of Europe and then London.
And more.
Boom. Yeah, I mean, it's like it darkens the dirt, the sun. So of course everything gets frozen, and here we go, ice. Iceland, number 2.
Finally, but true. Greenland and Iceland are the complete opposite. Isn't it freaking weird? Like Greenland is icy and Iceland is green. It's like, right. It's all relative. It is different ways of experiencing and seeing reality as we perceive.
I did Greenland. It's cold.
I bet. I've never done that.
We got off the plane. It was minus 50.
Oh.
Yeah, we were warned we had to put these things over our face, like mouth things and that, because you can't breathe the air. It would freeze your lungs like that. Bang.
Wow.
So, I mean,
but look, you were given information, potential outcoming experiences that if you approach it this way, most likely you're going to get it that way. And you're like, yeah, that may not be the most productive. So could there be another way? In this case, possibly that facial aspect to give yourself some warmth, some understanding that even in the coldest of energies can be the warmth of experience.
We have, if anybody is listening, I mean, really, seriously. I mean, somebody told me that they were standing for like 40 minutes while you and I were talking with their mouths open. They didn't even think about dialing. They were just listening. And that's okay if you're listening, but the number is 863-222-4199. That's text. So if your brain is somewhere else, text me. If it
But
isn't,
notice that
call.
information is shared. It's
Yeah,
their choice whether they want to tune into it or not. You're
exactly.
made to do nothing and allowed to do everything.
Exactly. Or they could also come in on the phone at 609-663-0153. And yes, tomorrow, if it's quiet like this, the next day I usually hear from everybody. You know, the mailbox go, pow, you know. So it's like, hey,
But look,
usually,
you're the conduit of conversation. You're the communication. When we can just share, not that we know better or worse, but maybe differently, sometimes from that different vantage point, we can go, okay, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but like I say, click, that's the first time I kind of see it that way.
well,
I'm like,
last week,
good, question everything.
you and I talked. Someone sat in a drive in a parking lot somewhere with the car running and the air conditioner on, and listened to the whole show because she couldn't leave the car and turn off the show.
Fantastic.
I mean, it was kind of cool. I said, "Well, that's really nice," but she says, "Yeah, but I missed my sale." I said, "Well, too bad."
But isn't that the interesting thing? What will we allow into our reality to function from there? Because sometimes we feel like it takes away, or sometimes it adds to. What if it's truly all one?
Yeah, I told her. I said, "Listen," I said, "You didn't have to sit in the parking lot. You could have taken the video right out of YouTube or Rumble."
Yeah.
And I send her a copy.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you for doing that.
she goes, "Oh, but I only knew that." I said, "Well, if you listened to the beginning," I said, "I told her."
But that's the point. In the beginning, most of us don't pay attention. It's where I'm at right now, what's going on. This is the reality. Okay, which is perfect. However, what if we are those eternal beings? What if this is just one moment in the essence of eternality?
But it is one moment. It's not going to happen in the next moment.
That's the point, when they can realize that the individualized aspect of each moment is created by their awareness, their expectancy, their either fear or hopefully empowerment, is the ability to co-create those experiences. Because what we don't understand, we tend to fear. And usually what we tend to fear, we usually want to crucify. It's like, man, question everything, be practical, but maybe it's just a different vantage point. Not better or worse, but different. Just not anyone necessarily wants to be told it has to be a different way. It's what if there's potentially a different way?
Somebody wrote me and they said, "I'm listening."
Beautiful.
The
And
number,
that's all they needed to say.
is Washington State, so.
That's beautiful. And you know what the encompassment of those few select words have given you the information about going, okay, they might be paying attention and open for different ways of seeing things.
Yeah, I always say to people, we are, I don't know, like all of us at one time or another in stress. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's the habitat we live in.
Yep.
In a sense. I mean, we don't have a choice. I mean, you got to do things, everything. Let's face it, relative time, linear time, is enough to blow my mind because every single thing that you do is by linear time.
As most people perceive it. Morning, noon, and night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's really, does it have to be that way, or could we realize it's all happening now? It's only the individualized value that we place upon each moment in each time.
That is something that I don't think anybody gets because I did read a very big article on it. A couple of scientists, and I forget who the other guy was in it, but it's somebody that's famous, they wrote this article, a report kind of sort of, and it did say the same thing that we've said on many shows, that right now is also later, is also yesterday, could be tomorrow. It's all at the same time. It's a universal color, but what's putting together.
Yes, the unified oneness, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I read it, I would never write it up. Well, maybe I would, but but you never know. But after I did read that, I mean, I'm saying to myself, like, where were these guys? You and I said it 7 years, 8 years ago, maybe more, maybe all the way back to Kinetic Hi-Fi,
Mm-hmm.
another radio station completely with Cooper.
But that's the point. Look at how far you've come, the changes that have been made to get you to who you are right here, right now. And I share the fact that that present moment, everything is the eternal moment, not the linear time, but the moment. Because I share the fact that when I do presentations, sometimes I'll have someone who calls in from Australia, which is about 17 hours in the future as we perceive it, right? Or from the Hawaiian Islands, which is usually a couple of hours behind. Yet when we're talking through the web, when is it? Now. The past, present, and future are all happening now. Your ability to grasp that concept, make those connections, and get the communications, that's what can determine the success or failure of each individual person. Or something like that.
A lot. Yeah, I was going. Yeah, but I'm saying that's when you really like. I'm sitting here like it's boiling in my brain up there somewhere. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm saying to myself, it's not only true, it's real. It's not that it's true. It's not that somebody said it and it really.
It's just there.
Exists.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. It's just here. I mean, you can say anything you want to, but you're living it.
And what will we choose to say and share? Because we will live it. And again, it's unconditional. That's why we can have as much or as little in life, and we are loved just the same by the universe. To me, and it's not the airy-fairy, the no love is every. It's like love allows everything to be. Good, bad, happy, sad is an eternal being. Everything for me, that's all I can speak about. When I unify with the oneness, it is like the best mood I've ever been in, the best meal I've ever had. I feel complete. My soul feels full. And I don't have all the regrets that as a human, we have to make life choices and learn to live with it one way or another. And in that case, when we can realize, oh, it's only our perspective of the unified oneness, how we see it that becomes our reality, is that which we'll experience. Those who talk about lack are living it. Those who talk about abundance are living it. And you don't see successful people going around saying they're a failure. No luck, no coincidence, precision on the universe's part.
Did you see that thing that I wrote about love that I put in Facebook?
I believe I did. Yes, sir. Beautifully shared.
But it really, really redefines a lot of the ways a lot of people think. Only because everybody thinks that love is a heart on Valentine's Day, a kiss in the cheek, card for no reason, which is love. It is flowers, all that kind of stuff. It's all love, But nobody realizes that love is like, I like where I am. I like what I do. I love walking down the street and talking to people. I love going to work and talking to people.
And notice how many different perspectives of love there are.
Exactly.
Exactly.
There's many, 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 many more that you don't think about that are actually connected to or as important as that kiss in the cheek.
What if that's our experience of life?
But it is. You're built, let's face it, you're made one way or the other from some type of love, whatever that love may be. It doesn't matter what it is. You come into this life, you have love in the soul when you come into this world.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you to harbor that love and keep it burning. Your whole life.
Yes, exactly. Share it. Just be it.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we talk about the soul all the time. The soul is the love. And how many times I've jokingly said that the Energizer bunny, when you see him like going ding, 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 ding down the street and everything else, and you see the batteries in his back, right? Well, there's the soul.
Who's the creator of those batteries?
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. The big man.
Yeah, as we perceive it. Yes, sir.
Exactly. And the same people that say the same thing that we're talking about right now are the ones that turn around saying, God? And I go, look, you can call it whatever you want to, but I said it's another whole place, another whole universe, another whole dimension.
And beyond.
That we've been at already. You've been there. You don't know about it You go to the stage.
What if you are there right now?
Yeah, well, you could be. You could be in 6 places at the same time.
And more. Yes, exactly. I share, and I can only speak from me, but I share the fact that there were a number of years ago where it was morning time and it was winter time, in this case in Arizona, and I had my sweats on and I used to ride my bike and I lived in an apartment. Well, when I pulled into the apartment and I parked my bike into the living room area on against the wall, we had off to the side there, the kitchen area with a little counter, and off to the side this dinette area for the table. Well, when I just got to the edge of where everything lined up, I looked in the kitchen and this warmth, it always seems to be a warmth. It's not a chill and scary thing. It's always a warmth. For me, washes over me, and standing in front of me in the frickin' kitchen is another me drying a dish with only blue shorts on. It didn't have sweats. It wasn't a reflection. I'm like, oh my God. And my vision, however I can express it, my vision went into the other me looking at me and back to me, and it was gone. I'm like, holy crap. I questioned everything.
And that's like a Stargate.
Yeah, exactly. Unification of oneness. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Because when you walk through the Stargate, all you're doing is you're somewhere else. Instantly. 1, 2, 3. Another dimension. Boom. That's the way it is. We're now we're going into quantum,
Yes, I love the quantum science. Yes.
Exactly. When you get into that kind of stuff, it's like way out of this whatever. But I mean, I would like to put together or sit together and have dinner or have breakfast, something like that, with a bunch of people that have no idea what I'm talking about.
You got guts, man. Not everyone would do that.
No, the reason why I would do something like that, as bold as it sounds, is because every single person inside them, in their brain, in their body, in their DNA, in their chromosomes, in their soul, have knowledge of what I'm talking about.
Notice how you've segmented each aspect, and that soul stands on its own.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And the thing is, if you're talking to those people and then somebody turns around and asks you a question, then you hit, I mean, it's like being on the guitar and hitting the right note. I mean, it's like bing, I got that.
They needed to find that value point of questioning. What do you feel? What do you think about that stuff? Because they already have their preconceived notions of it. Sometimes hearing it differently is, oh.
And then right after that, you know what happens? Everybody else joins in.
They just needed to see the experience and what the action and reaction is. Otherwise, more than likely, it wouldn't just open up if you were pissed off going, mother. To be like, I don't think I'll say anything. Which a lot of people grow up with.
It's a joke, but they should do that in Washington. More things would get voted on, passed, and we'd have a lot more money in our pocket.
And yeah, isn't it interesting that in this case, in a country that's trillions in debt, is going to tax and more and more and more multiple times, and then at the end of the year, no, I'm not sure which one.
Oh man, there was one with Biden. What was it? The beginning of the week, I guess it was Monday, or maybe it was Saturday. I don't know. He was on his little campaign thing, and he was saying, he says, I have to tax everyone because, and I was like, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Because?
Right.
You want to break that down and define that, for crying out loud?
Aren't we taxed on yearly annual income, and then don't we have to pay taxes on everything that we buy from the stores? Kind of interesting.
Oh, plus on top of that, you got to pay gas on both this taxes on your gas, which is something that goes federal, because you got to whatever that is, and then all of your federal stuff you got to get taxed on. And now Trump was the first guy that I ever heard say it, and I've been saying this again for years: don't tax tips, because tips are something that's given to you by the heart and soul of another person.
Yet
you
that doesn't necessarily matter to others.
Right. So it has nothing to do with anyone else but the person that gave it and the person that took it, for the services they gave to the person that gave them the tip.
The energy they shared. Yes.
The sharing. So therefore, if it's a sharing, Why is it taxed in the first place? And every single year when I get my thing, you got your tips and you got your soul, your money part of it.
Same
And
thing.
it all, yeah, but it all, when it goes down the bottom, they're added, they're put together.
Most
As,
people don't realize that value point. They'll
yeah,
let it take them down to the basics of nothing.
exactly. So without the tips, my net would be less, so I'd be taxed less, and I'd have to pay less, which would mean
However,
I'd get back more.
who would you be living for? Yourself or others?
Right, right. Well, don't forget, you work one day, at least one day, for somebody else. And it's getting, I think it's a day and a half now because
It's going to move up to 2 and
no,
3.
did you look at what the country has in the what they owe? Wow, my God.
Isn't it interesting? And it just keeps going. And yet, from someone who's in the lack as we perceive it, that they're going to charge their people even more about what's happening and still be in lack. Kind of interesting,
Yeah, I
think about
maybe I should go out for a grant or something. They just gave a couple of $1 million in it to some guy that wanted to find out the origin or the something or other about this bird. It's a worm.
this
I swear it's a worm, and it was supposed to start in South America or something like that, and somehow or another got into Central America, something like that. And it's not a good worm. It's the one that gets in you, does things.
Okay.
But they were doing experiments on this thing, and they needed a few $1 million. The government gave them a couple of $1 million for a worm.
Notice, right, if it's a fear factor, oh, here you go. But if it's an empowerment factor, whatever, anyone can have that. Right. Sometimes we need to have that necessity to create that investment of energy, in this case, money.
People are opening up. They really, really are. The more and more I talk to people, the more they're opening up. They're just, put it this way, they are becoming more aware to what's going on around them, which everyone should be.
And willing to talk about it. Yes, not everyone does.
Exactly.
Don't say anything. It's a beautiful day.
So many things are wrong in this world.
Yet.
Not supposed to be. That are founders and are just presence being here on earth. All those things. There are things that are wrong against the simplest things we have or cherish in our lives. Law happens to be one of them. And that's when
take it down to the bare necessities. Yes.
Exactly. And somebody said to me today, well, it's the money. I said, no, it's not the money. It's the power.
Which is equated to money. Yes.
Yeah, you can equate it backwards, but still, power. Look, let's face it. As long as they had the power, they take half the money.
Right.
As long but you could say it was $1. I'll give you the power for $1. They'll take it because the power, they are the ones that rule.
That $1 is the acceptance of that action. Okay, I can do it.
Yes. Yeah, it's like what do they call it? What was that thing in that on the ship with the if I think about it by the end of the thing, and then I'll zip it over. But it's like a dole that they give when they're doing things.
And consistency is the key. Exactly. Yes.
And if they don't do it, oops.
Shifts happen. Yes, exactly.
But while I have it here, I got a couple of questions because I've been talking to some people about this soul phone thing.
Oh yeah.
Just do me a favor now. Don't let any cats out of the bag or anything.
I'm not allowed to.
No, you're not allowed to. You can tell me the who, what, when, where, how, and why.
I can't tell you who, but I will tell you why is because we can. What if the scientific methodology is bringing everything together?
The thing is this. All right, say yes or no. Does it have anything to do with telepathic usage?
And beyond, yes.
And beyond. So, okay, if it's telepathic, then that means it's telepathic to another person that can, or source.
Is the cell phone telepathic, or is it That's what I'm talking about. It is just a connection of communication.
Exactly.
Just one aspect. Yes,
but it's
sir.
got to be connected to something to transmit to more people.
What if that's the key? Yes.
Yes.
Unification of oneness.
If
Yes.
that's the case, then what we have inside of us that has been, it's been forever
Squelched.
inside of us. Let's face it, my mother was one of those weird ones. You know, she was like like my grandmother was. You know, she was like you. She could, you know, the spirits would come back and talk to her.
It's there. Yes.
That's just the way my grandmother was.
Yep.
But on my mother's side, my mother used to turn around and she would tell me what I was thinking before I was thinking it.
And when it's coming from mama, it's not so scary. It's like, oh, how did you know that? Oh.
Yeah. And it was like, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. We were talking about cars because when I was like 19, I was buying a new car. Duh.
That's impressive.
But exactly. It was a 1970 Torino GT Fastback.
I used to have a GT Torino. Yep. That was one of my first
cars.
Yep.
With the window, when you look through the mirror, the window's about 1 inch, but the window's really 4 feet long. You know, one of those things.
What is a reflection of consciousness?
You all leak in the trunk. So, but the thing was with that car, my mother. I started after my father passed away. Now my daughter was just 44 today.
Beautiful. Happy birthday to her. That's fantastic.
44 today. Now, my father passed away when he was 45.
Yeah, you start getting those like, okay, when did they graduate? Okay, and how old am I? What am I? Yep.
Exactly. So I told her, I said, you know, just to behave and do your thing and that. And she, you know, she was asking me the story of how he went, the whole 9 yards, and he was in Long Island. We were in Jersey, and he was in a truck, and he had this massive heart attack in the truck.
And notice after that, it's not happening now. You're just you're sharing a perpetuated pattern of experience.
Exactly. And you know, we were talking about all these things that were going on, and she said, you know, she says, maybe you'll be around for a while. I said to her, I got news for you. I says, I'm going to be your pain
for the rest of your life.
Your life. So I mean, it's like, but you want to talk about that somebody that was really, really weird. She says, you know, I had this dream that you were doing this and this and this. I said, good. I said, maybe it's rubbing off. She goes, why? She says, what are you talking about? I said, I did.
What if that is the expression of reception? Yes, exactly.
When I was talking about the thing with the car, after my father passed away, I was 9, and I wasn't supposed to, but my mother, you know, talked to this guy and that he was doing the paper route kind of thing for the Patterson Evening News was the name of the newspaper, and I was born in Patterson, so anyway,
sorry. I'm kidding.
Hey, Abbott and Costello was born in the same hospital.
Freaking awesome.
So, hey.
Ain't life a joke?
Exactly. So anyway, we were talking, and you know, I said to my sister, my daughter, I said, you know, what my mother did, I said was, I would do my paper route. I started out with like 9 customers. The guy said, I'll give you 9 customers if you want them to, you know, start doing this and whatever. So I started doing it. When I finished, it was 67 customers.
Notice you went from number 9, which is usually the sign of completion, and going in for a whole new experience beyond that limited energy. That's beautiful.
Exactly. And what I did was, when I used to come home and Saturdays, I used to collect, and I used to take all the paper, the money and everything else, and count out what goes to them, because the guy would come, you know, stop by and he'd get his money or whatever. The rest of my money and then I would leave on top of my dresser. And I'm talking a pile of money, man. It was like a lot of money. Right? People, that was back when people paid cash.
Back then, yeah.
There was no credit cards. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of coin. And my mother used to scoff off some of the money. So all those years, from the time I was 9 till the time I was 18 or 19, she was taking all that money once a week or whatever and putting it in the bank. So at the time, that car was $2,300.
Wow.
I had $2,300 and something in the mail, in the bank.
And so you didn't necessarily even realize that you
Right.
for not doing it. It was
Right.
done for you.
So we bought the car cash.
Wow. Beautiful.
Brand new. I mean, it was
That's
unbelievable.
impressive, man. I'm like, yeah, no.
You look at the price. You look at the price of those things. It had a Boss 302 in it. With a
Yep.
stick.
Yep.
I mean, forget it. And then you had then let me see. In 1972, I bought the 72 was the Torino Super Sport, the fire engine red, black leather top, yellow stripe down the side,
Of course.
and a hairy looking thing in it. And that was like my grandmother. My grandmother. I took her down the Long Island Expressway. And anybody listening, by the way, you probably had a relative that did the same thing. This old lady was like 85, 86 years old, and she wanted to ride in that beautiful car. So that beautiful cherry car took her for a ride down the Long Island Expressway. So we're going down the expressway, and we're doing about, I don't know, 50 miles an hour or something like that. We're in a slow because I was like being careful. And she goes, "Has this thing got anything in it?" I said, "Oh, you want to know?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." Wow, down a third, stepped to the floor, and then pulled it back in a fourth, and the front of the car went up in the air.
Yeah, huh? That's the power that people don't want to necessarily work with.
Yeah, we were glued to the chairs, going up at 110 miles an hour. And then I had to I had to take my foot off the gas and then let it come down. And she was so happy. She got home. She was telling everybody about the road, the ride she had. And it was one of those kind of crazy things. But that car was $4,300.
What if that's part of the creative process of experience? You're just being you, yet you gave her that energy that she accepted to go, this is freaking awesome. Hey, and by the way, and all you had to do was just be you. It was an action. The energy was already there. It was the action and the reaction to that gave her, in this case, that, oh, I love that power. Really?
The best one that people don't do a lot of times that when I first got my mother also wanted a little crazy too, because when I was 16 I got my first motorcycle.
Wow.
And it was weird. And my mother I said to my mother, I said, "Get on, I give you a little ride around the corner, around the back, around the block." And it was I think it was CL110 or something like that. It was a Honda. And I gave her a ride, all right. I said, "Just hold." There was no back things on those, like on the bike I have now, and that there's a back stop on it and everything else on it, so you're not going to fall off. But man, she had her arms around me. No wonder I didn't break all the ribs.
And how many people have the guts to take that ride?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. And see, life is a ride. It is from the very, very beginning. All the shit that I'm telling you right now, at my age, I should remember those things. You know what? I can tell you more. If anybody wants to, I'm serious. I mean, we're going to have talks like this because Talk Now is coming back. Now Talk, I mean.
Excellent.
It's coming back.
Good.
And people are going to get on, and I want people to get on and tell me what's on your mind. Because so many people have so many things on their mind and they can't get it out.
They're not able to, right?
I'm not telling everybody to talk all at the same time or something like that. Tell me what's on your mind. And if I can help, I will. But if there's other people on the same screen, other people can help too, not just me. And we can show people the difference in a group that's a positive group as opposed to Washington.
What if that's kind of like the universe? Are people wanting to come together to share that insight?
That's a black hole. That's a black hole.
Good thing. So notice what you'll do. You're going to set that off to the side and not deal with it. That's the point. Can we feel that energy of what's appropriate and inappropriate? That which isn't good. That which is good. It's all very relative.
Oh yeah. And we're gonna do things like that. But I'm sure that even this show, I'm gonna hear a lot, from people.
Good luck.
I definitely want to tell people that listen, there's a piece in the middle, in the front, that does tell you about what we do and what you do, the things that you should do and the things you could do, and things that we all love to do, and that's love ourselves.
And others. Just most of us tend to be able to give it to others rather than necessarily first to ourselves. Yeah, you cannot give what you do not have.
something you said a long time ago, that we attract people, which is we really really do. I mean, so many people that say, well, I was talking to this one here, and I told them let's go out and have a drink and blah blah blah. I said you don't even have to do any of those things. Just walk up to somebody and say hi. If they say hi back, then there was an attraction.
Then there's a communication too. Yes.
Yeah. Wait a minute, I'm getting to the good part. If they don't say something back, then forget about it. But if she hits you with something, call the police.
You speak from experience. And when people can see, okay, you've gone through that and you're doing okay. Yeah. So what did you do? They're not going to ask you that if you're all messed up. Yeah. How did you do it? It's like, no, they want to see the best that you can, that not everything is easy, but that the steadfastness that you, as Bob in this case, are willing to go beyond those limitations of what we perceive. That's the only way it is. Like, really? Are we sure about that?
Yeah.
Or could possibly there be other ways to see it?
People at my work said, oh, you're an entertainer. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I'm just telling you about real life.
But look at how they perceive you. Hey, that's entertaining.
Yeah.
Exactly. It can be entertaining and informative. It doesn't know it to me. It doesn't always have to be just scary. Just most people are used to that fear factor to go, if it's going to make you fear, it's going to be more powerful. It's like, really? You sure about that?
No, it's not. It's not. Hey, I told somebody the other day, and that they were talking about like kids, and I have to agree with them. Kids today, they can't buy a house. They can work and work and work, even rents and things that absolutely.
Yes.
And I was telling them the story that my father, when he came home from World War II, and of course they had the veterans, things that they got, little perks. He bought his house for $9,500. In Saddlebrook, New Jersey. 42 Wilson Street is the number of it. Well, I looked up the house. It's almost $500,000.
Right.
Same house.
Same exact house, a different value point of energy. Exactly.
Exactly. And I said to them, I said, you guys are talking about things and not the way they are right now. I says, it'll be back where it was. So that you can't afford. I said, the thing is, someone just turned around and, raised the bar.
And so what did they do? They raised it.
Right. So what they have to do is they have to lower it. Right. For instance, I'll give you a good for instance. And everybody that's listening right now is probably going to go, yeah, you're right. But, the thing is, you go to a dollar store, you're going to spend $1. When I first got here to Florida, I said, we've got a couple of them. You got Dollar General, and you've got Donald this, and Dollar this. Well, now they're all $1.25, and they have been since the beginning of the COVID-19 thing. Now, COVID-19 is, for the most part, over. Okay, all that stuff is gone, finished. So why aren't they lowering the prices? They got away with it.
What if there's a potential that there's going to be another epidemic that will be introduced to? Well, I'm sure that's not going to happen.
No, but they had the bird flu.
I don't know about that one, but yeah, it's going to go way beyond that.
Dairy cows.
Okay,
and bird flu.
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow. I'll have to do some homework on that.
I'm saying to myself, like, okay, they're going to take away the milk, and the milk goes in all the things that we eat, so they're going to take away them, and then
limitation rather than expansion. Exactly.
Yeah. So
find the need, you find the value in it now. Like
right. The key to controlling the masses, all right, is not money; it's food. If you command the food, you command the masses. So, and they're
because what does it take to get that? Money.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really, really crazy. And the same thing that we say in that with any, well, I heard the other day they were doing this ad about California psychics. And I'm serious, dead serious. I'm at a red light and I'm laughing at the guy. I'm laughing so hard the guy who come behind me beeped the horn because I didn't move on the green light. I mean, it was like they tell you all about these people, and then, well, we do this, and they're going on and on and on and on about all the things. And I mean, I've been working with you, and I've worked with other people too, and I know what a psychic does. I know where a psychic gets it from. I know what a psychic sees, and that because I've worked with so many that I actually been part of it in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you do that, and then you hear these commercials. Oh well, and I get the things online too. Well, for $4.99, we'll tell you this. Yeah, okay. If a million people give you $4.99, you don't have to tell me. You can give it to an AI, and he will. Ta-da!
I will tell you, I do remote viewing as well, which I was trained by Major Ed Dames, who used to be a remote viewer for the military. And for some reason, every time I target the mid 2030s, AI will be running this entire planet.
You
It
know,
will move from 205 countries to one unified world.
there were movies that were like that said that kind of thing too. So I mean, and people were,
Science fiction till
yeah,
it's science fact.
yeah, it's right. People were seeing people or seers so many years ago, and they didn't know it. It
They
was
didn't understand what was going on.
fiction.
Right.
But now you kind of crazy. But
Isn't it? But can we accept that to realize, okay, you know what? Question everything, just be open. Find your own spiritual essence within the one spiritual stuff. Because to me, it's all spiritual.
well,
And life is relative.
we are at the end.
Always
But
good to talk with you, Bobby.
I want to remind everybody in it too, everybody that's listening or everybody that listens to this video, the conversation that we just had somehow, some way, and I've gotten emails and that before and that, and I've gotten so many kisses. It is funny because I get those little heart things, I get those things in all the time. The things that we're talking about are things that talking to or happen to people, just people, humans. Could be
Regular
Japan,
people, yes.
England,
Just like us.
Ireland, Canada, Asia, could be anywhere. These things that we're talking about have happened to someone, and it could have happened to you. And if it did happen to you, all we want you to do is think about it. Think real hard about it. Well, how did it affect you? How
And others around you, yes.
right? How can you change the world by remembering half of the things you forgot, or at least you say you forget? You don't forget. It's like a disk on a computer. You could erase, you could delete, you could do anything you want to, but it don't forget. It just goes to the center of that disk.
Right.
And if they play back the center of that disk, they got all the information because it wasn't deleted. It was deleted off the fast track, but not the inner track.
So now we get how possibly some of humanity is. The reality of our experience. To go, oh, it only holds the value you place upon it. No more, no less. And sometimes we just need a different way of seeing things, of experiencing, to go, okay, so it's not that it's negative that I've seen it a certain way, but it's different. Okay, so I'm like, you can see it however you want to. There's no limit. You don't only have to see it as positive. A lot of people see it as a challenge. I'm like, okay, if that works for you, now where do you want to go from here? And they're like,
That's when you turn around and go, duh.
Yeah. It's always
What?
good, Bobby.
What? Yeah. Let's launch this thing out of here.
Let's do this. Yes.
Oh yeah. I want to tell everybody, hey, listen, you got to, like, hey, I got an address. It's bobcharlesshow@live.com. If you have a comment, write to it. There's also a text, 863-222-4199. Want me to do it slow? 863-222-4199. Or you can also write me right over on Facebook. Just look for Bob Charles, and you'll write to me. God bless y'all.